Hello everyone, it's Wei. Thanks for joining me in this video. Today I wanted to show you how to paint a flower wreath. And I'm gonna use this photo that I found on Instagram from this Instagram account called Maji Made Roses. I'm gonna list that in the description box below. So it's such a cute flower wreath in the shape of a heart, and I thought it would look lovely in watercolors. So this is the photo I'm gonna be using. Since I'm gonna do this in a fairly loose style, I am not going to do the drawing. Instead, I'm just gonna go right in with my brush. Alright, I'm gonna start with this middle pink rose, but with a very, very, very light pink color. I really like this pink color, so cute. And by the way, it's from the what's the brand? I'm searching for the in my head the name of the brand. Holbein, yes. And the color is called Opera. So you see, even though I'm not using the pencil here, I still need to sketch, so I am just like sketching with my brush and bring out the shape of that rose. And now I'm gonna grab the same color Now I'm going to still use the same color. By the way, it's actually a mixture of Opera and Sennelier red, which is a red. And throw in some crimson, alizarin crimson. So I'm just using the same color to fill that rose everywhere. And for the shadow, I'm gonna give it a greenish shadow. Actually, I don't know yet, so I'm just trying with burnt sienna and what color is this? Turquoise green or something like that. Just need a very light color, and some strokes might be a little too strong. Okay, now I need a really dark color. So some alizarin crimson and maybe some blue, ultramarine blue. Okay, I'm gonna keep the flower loose, so I'm not gonna go into details. And now the second one. The second one right here is like a orange, but a creamy orange color. So I think for that I'll use ochre and it'll come to me. Primary, it's either a primary yellow or a Sennelier yellow. Let's see if that's the color I like. I really like this beige, creamy, orange kind of color. Big fan of it. Just like the first flower, we will start with a very, very light color. Actually, it might be a little too strong. You can never be too light for the first layer. And also because this rose is not very tainted, so we might even need to lift out some areas. Lift out the color. It's such a light colored rose that some areas of the petals look whitish. And now I'm going to use the same color, ochre plus Sennelier yellow or primary yellow. So orange, but let's try it. It's nice to not just use one color, but to mix two colors together so that you have different shades. I'm starting to feel like that this brush might be a little too big, because the flower I'm painting is actually quite small. But thanks to the fine tip of this brush, I'm able to go on. And for those of you who are new to my channel, first of all, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. You might not know because I have talked about my brush in a number of times in my previous videos. This is a size 0 petit gris pur brush from Raphael. I'm still using the same color, but I think this time I'll throw in some burnt sienna. for the darkest area in the middle of the flower. Okay, that's our second rose. And one more petal at the bottom. Okay, that's our second rose. And I feel like I'm painting the roses a little bit too big, so I don't know if I'll be able to fit the entire flower wreath in it. Yeah, we'll see. The third one will be this yellow rose right here, because this is the one that's resting on top of its neighbor, so it's easier to paint him, her, it first. Now the base color, I'm going to use this Sennelier pink, brown pink with primary yellow. I think it's primary yellow instead of Sennelier yellow, although these two colors are very similar. I hope you can still see it in the video because I added really a lot of water in this color and I can barely see it. Some greenish shadow on the outer layer, and again I'm going to lift out some of the colors right here. Because it appears almost white in the photo. And I hope that's not because of the lighting. That's why I prefer to use real flowers as my model, so that you can see them in natural lighting and you can see the volume and you can see everything, how they look like in their natural, how do we say, environment. Now some yellow. Right, which color did I use before? I forgot. Yeah, primary yellow and brown pink. I don't know if you know this color, brown pink, from Sennelier. I used to think that it has such a weird name, and I never thought of... I'm sorry, it's just that the paper is really drying up, so I'm gonna wet it. Alright. Where was I? So, yeah, I was talking about this color from Sennelier called brown pink. I thought the name was a little weird, so I didn't really think about getting it. And then I have to say that it's a very helpful color. Itself, it seems a little weird because it's like a how do I put it? Like a greenish, golden green, or yellowish golden green, if I'm making sense. But it's actually a quite helpful color to mix up certain colors, for example, my greens. So yeah, lately I am in love with it. I use it all the time for yellowish tone and also for greenish tones. So let's try some of the orange part of this flower, and for the orange I'm gonna use the same yellow and mix it up with ochre. And some alizarin crimson. Okay, it seems a little too orange. So for the dark tones, actually the shadow, or the crease, I'm sorry, the crease between the petals, I'm going to try brown, pink, and primary yellow, and a little burnt sienna. Yeah, it should be more like this color. And be careful, the lighter your flower is, the lighter the shadow should be. So don't worry if you think that your color is too light in the beginning. You just need to have a little patience and build up the layer little by little. And yeah, painting watercolor is something that requires a lot of patience. I'm a little dropping in some red over here because it's like right next to a red flower, so it's sort of casting some of the reddish shadow on it. Okay, now the big one, well, in the middle, I think I'm going to make it a little bigger, just for the composition of this painting. Of this, I don't know, I wanted to do a flower wreath, but I'll probably do a painting. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not a very organized person, and I you can see that I do this all the time. I start with something I had in mind, and as I keep going, I had to change my plan all the time, which is not a very good thing in a watercolorist. But that's what happens when I decide to paint flowers, to paint things loose. And it happens a lot. But I really enjoy painting flowers in a loose style. Lately I have been doing more like not a realistic style, but more realistic than this, which means more detailed paintings and style like that. And I miss painting loosely. It really frees up my mind. Okay, now when we get to the bottom part, make sure that you sketch out the yellow rose, the edge of the yellow rose. Okay, I'm using the same color as this one, but more on a warmer tone, a warmer rose. Alright, still using the same color, but maybe with, better this way, maybe with just a little alizarin crimson. Alright, now some yellow tone. I'm going to use yellow, primary yellow, and burnt sienna for that middle part of something. Okay, back to the rose. The rose color. I was actually thinking of the word pink that I said rose, because in French, pink is rose. Pink with opera and primary yellow, still using the same color. You can see that I actually use a lot of the same color, not only on this one flower, but more on the same painting, because I don't like to use like a bunch of color for one painting. And although I have some pretty sweet, luxurious watercolor palette, like the 48 Sennelier watercolor palette, I like having it, I like looking at it, but seriously, I don't use that many colors. It's a luxury, not a necessary kit. But, you know, it's so pretty to look at. And also you can, if you want your shadow to appear even more natural, you can try to add some red in your green or your bluish. Depends if you're painting a bluish shade or a greenish shade. You can add some of the colors from your flower. Oh, I'm running out of green. Please, just a little more. Alright, I had to mix up some more green. So basically the green I have here is these three colors together, which is burnt sienna, brown pink, and indigo. Okay, that's the fourth flower, and it's taking much longer than I expected. What about here? A little bit more green over here at the bottom. Okay, my initial plan to paint this entire flower wreath obviously fell through, so I'm just gonna go paint a part of a flower wreath. Yeah, that's my backup plan. I'm just gonna do one more rose right here, using the same color as this one. Still just the shape, and hurry before it dries up. You see, if you mix two colors together, to get a color, then you can see how the colors separate on paper, and for me that's a very beautiful effect. Especially when painting flowers. Some shells, and let's see. A little darker something for the middle. I'm picking up a lot of old dirty colors on my palette, and I know I said that it's never good to mix more than 3 colors, otherwise it'll just get very dirty and muddy, but because I use a lot of old colors, so I guess I end up using more than 3 colors on some stuff, so yeah. I'll get some main branch and I'll think about the rest. I'm going to use the color of the leaf to shape out this rose right here. That means I'm going to need at least one leaf over here. Okay, I'm not even looking at the photo already because I just have to improvise from here, I guess. The leaves and stuff. And the good thing about making it green with these 3 colors is that you can change the tone. If you want it to be darker, you can add more indigo and burnt sienna. If you want it to be lighter, you can add more brown pink. I'm going to add the color of the flower leaf. And it's interesting to have these different variations on the green. See how the color is separating? I don't know if you can see well enough on the video. See how the color is separating on this leaf right here? I love that. I guess what I'm doing here is more like, it's kind of like a negative painting. Is that when you want to paint a very light tone flower, like a white flower, you can just paint the leaves around it, and eventually you'll get to shape out that flower by painting the leaves. That's how we get the veins, just by scratching it, but when it's too wet, we can't. So make sure you wait till that dries up a little. And if we want to do some distant leaves, we can just add more water in the pigment, in the color. To sort of give it an effect that these leaves are further away. Alright, that's so much we have for today. Thank you very much for watching this video and this painting. Even though it didn't turn out to be a flower wreath, I hope you still enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one, and until then, take care. Bye.